It's Monday, 24th of June, when I keep on my videos. I'm sure people will be aware there now of the kind of push, predominantly from water for freewheelers, to assist kind of Waterford Council, Waterford Garda, members of Sinn Féin, and not to mention the members of the Halligans trying to cover up with their covenants. So it should be acknowledged now of the input of water for freewheelers. And they're not going to waste time now trading insults with this group, which is potentially what Dr. Anne Carey out in Tranmore wants me to do, is to basically waste my time with this. But various motorcycle groups up and down Ireland who have been contacted from Waterford freewheelers and other motorcycle groups around Waterford and further need to acknowledge of the kind of input from Waterford freewheelers and their efforts to assist Waterford Gardaí. Do you know what I mean? I know people are thinking surely Waterford freewheelers won't be helping Waterford Gardaí. Well, I'm afraid that's just a fact. Do you know what I mean? I could go back to a situation 27 years ago where I myself was in court. Fella next to me got 3 years. Fella next to him got 4 years. I was next to him. I got 5 years. And then one of these was next to me. And he got 12 months. But what was that for? That was for a loaded handgun. Do you know what I mean? But the difference in him being in court and us being in court, we didn't have a guard standing up giving us a character reference. Do you know what I mean? So there's no really surprise there. But I don't feel intimidated by them or any other group in Waterford, because this is about kind of like standing up for myself, okay? It's about standing up for my family. And it's not about me thinking that I can beat anyone up or that I'm a hard man or anything like that. This is way kind of like bigger than that, do you know what I mean? I'm pretty sure like the majority of one-on-one would beat me up. It's not about that. If they formed a gang and beat me up, it wouldn't kind of deter me in any way, shape or form. Just like your kind of campaign now up and down Ireland is not going to deter me in any way. But obviously I spoke to the last couple of weeks about I was going to start putting this information out there. And I knew kind of like this kind of stuff would happen. So it's better off to just kind of let it happen. Talk about what I'm going to do, because always something like this always happens. So it's easier to let that kind of happen, being honest with you. And what's happening now, I'm getting more clarity, more cohesiveness in what I'm saying. And I'm after putting all of this stuff really together there now. And there's loads of documentation to support what I'm saying. And this really needs to be presented in front of a high court, realistically, to kind of to try and kind of seek any form of accountability. And the state is not going to provide legal assistance for me to hold the state accountable. Let's be honest about it. This is just a kind of cold hard fact. So I have to try and get my own head around it and stop arguing with the likes of these kind of clowns, if I'm being honest with you, and other kind of various groups within Waterford who have it in their interest to support kind of what's going on. So that's all I have really to say about this kind of whole group and kind of and their input of the last few weeks. But I explained previously how kind of I originally kind of ended up kind of arguing with this group, how your man Ambrose from Tranmore was driving my daughter around with me ex, wearing these patches, trying to intimidate me. This is around 2016. And then in 2017, how the O'Tooles went in around like the Waterford freewheelers, spreading all this kind of sexual. God forbid anyone have the intelligence to question what was going on, or why they were even hand-picked, because you were clearly hand-picked, do you know what I mean, to do what was being done. But that's it. But I knew about that. I didn't really talk about it because there's no point in kind of talking about this. But recently, to kind of endanger my wife and my daughter, and kind of that really rubbed me up the wrong way, being honest with you. But as I said, it's to prevent me from kind of socially being accepted into my community. And it's a form of social shunning. That's what's being done here now. They're trying to socially and financially starve myself and my wife out, being honest with you, in an effort to try and cover up the corruption. And if nothing else, you'll see by the documents I've been uploading and kind of the videos you show, this is a very serious situation, do you know what I mean? And and I can't take a reference to this because it's never been done before, so there's nothing to reference it off it. But there's enough evidence there. I have enough evidence that this can be presented in a high court for the gross kind of breach of kind of due process and the human rights abuse. Kind of, it's too much to go into now in this quick video. But there's enough evidence there. And I'm going to start putting this evidence out there over the next kind of few days, few weeks. I know I've been talking about this a long time, and kind of behind the scenes there's a lot of stuff goes on, a lot of kind of harassment and stuff goes on. So it kind of prevents me from making these videos, and kind of it prevents me from being kind of cohesive and kind of speaking with clarity. But that's what's going on anyway. But I'm going to put this out there, and I'm going to speak about a solicitor who kind of got caught in my kind of case. She got caught kind of being corrupt. She was in the consultation room with me ex, caught her winking over at me ex. Crazy stuff. Just loads of stuff regarding this person. She put a person onto my case to do a report that she said she didn't know that she was from up the country. This person turned out to be friends with Dr. Anne Carey in Waterford Tussle. She wrote a rag of a report. The report was so bad that she wrote in court that the judge threw the report out. That's how bad this report was. Um, but I'm going to speak about all that, and I want to speak about the actions of my ex, from breaking up to her, from being involved in this kind of cult, this religion, this Baha'i faith. They'll say it's not a cult. It is a cult. Do your research. They control all PR, so it's very hard to find any information about this. But this is what the Scientologists done, being honest with you, for like kind of years. And it's only the past 30 years with the use of the internet, the truth started coming out. But I'll talk about this and why she's been supported by Tusla and Dublin Council and all this stuff. Because at the end of the day, like, people are entitled to kind of move on with their life, and they kind of, or they turn a new page, and that's fair enough. But I just want to show that what she's promoting and what she's been lauded and applauded at is actually fake. I can show you documented proof of this person lying, and I will play you the podcast where she appeared on the Two Norries in 2022, and every time she lies, I will stop it and I will speak and I'll show documentations to show the character of this person. But before that, I have to kind of deal with this whole kind of Baha'i stuff. And as I speak about this, I'm going to name kind of the solicitor and stuff that I'm going to name the solicitor that kind of got caught being corrupt. And unfortunately, that solicitor could only do what she done with the assistance of the other party solicitor. But I have no proof of that, so I can't really prove that the other solicitor assisted this. But I can prove that this solicitor in question is caught by the walls. And to give you some kind of an idea there, see, this is a letter there. See, I have the name scribbled out. This is actually from the solicitor, right? It's 25th of January 2021. I referred to the above matter and confirmed that your file was archived after my involvement with the case finished and after 5 years was destroyed. I had no concerns about destroying the file, as I had already given you a copy of the same some previous years. I did communicate this to you by phone some weeks ago and explained to you that there would be documentation available which could be printed from our case management system. This would only contain documents that were generated from this office, as we do not scan or post all documents received to file at this time. So basically, she's basically admitting that the 5 years was up, so she deleted the file. So she acknowledged that there was a 5 years, because she tried to delete the file basically. Well, no, sorry, she did delete the file. I contacted Law Society. They said she had a 5-year legal obligation to retain all aspects of the file. She deleted. She tried to say the 5 years was up. Now this is the 25th of January 2021. Now there's many kind of like emails that I've gotten back which shows this person to be lying, and this is from the 26th of the 5th 2016. And she's basically writing to me, kind of telling me about a court order, and there's loads of documents, not going to get into it, but it shows that the 26th of the 5th 2016, 5 years from that date, is obviously 26th of the 5th 2021. But here you have her in her own admission at the 25th of January 2021, already acknowledging that she was after destroying the file. Do you know what I mean? Now this is less than 5 years. So it shows now there's lots of documentation that this woman is absolutely caught. But because our family rubbed shoulders with guards and politicians and the mayor and stuff, she got her actions covered up. So I'm going to explain all of this as cohesively as I can over the next kind of few weeks. And you don't have to share this or like this or anything, kind of, you just have to hear me out. But they don't want you kind of hearing this, do you know what I mean? God forbid anyone have their own kind of mind, do you know what I mean? They want to wave all this kind of sex shit in your face. That's essentially what's going on. Like, stay focused on that and kind of don't focus what I'm saying. Do you know what I mean? You can focus on both things. Why can't you focus on both things? It's not like I'm trying to hide something. But there's loads of documentation which shows this solicitor in a very bad light. And this solicitor made a complaint about me in 2016. She made a complaint. I told her I was at the catching her in the consultation room with my ex. I was at the catching her winking over at my ex. I caught her lying about who the person was that came to do the report. I actually had a Dr. Teresa Graham, which is a very good name in Waterford. And the previous solicitor I had set this all up because there was issues with myself and Waterford Tusla, where basically I didn't trust him. And he agreed with me that Waterford Tusla should have no part in this. So it was set up that an independent person, Dr. Teresa Graham, do the report. Now I have all the documentation around this. I don't have time to show it at the moment. But she manipulated this woman out, told me that this woman would look down her nose at me, and she'd kind of, like a lot of kind of stuff she basically told me. And she told me that she had a friend from up the country who knows another person who was completely independent. And I was concerned, has she had to deal with Waterford Tusla? And she was like, no, she's not deal with Waterford Tusla. She's from up the country. I don't know where she is. And like, I don't know who she is. Well, it turned out she didn't know who she was. She had her on previous cases. She was linked in with Waterford Tusla as she was friends with Dr. Anne Carey. So when all this came out, I was going to go out to Tramore, and as I said, I was going to make a complaint about it. And I told her, no, in certain terms, I was going to make a complaint about it. So by the time I left Waterford City and got out to Tramore, I think like it was probably a 45-minute bus journey at the time, she was after leaving the courtroom, running over to her office and lodging a complaint about me. Now this is all documented on file. So she knows I was unhappy. This is my point. She knows I was unhappy, and she made a complaint, and then she removes the documentation and the emails that supports her even complaint. Now, if you're complaining about something, why would you destroy the file? Think about it. You wouldn't, would you? And she acknowledges that the 5 years that she had to retain the file, that she acknowledges of the 5 years. And the only reason she acknowledges because I contacted her saying you had 5 years, that you had 5 years to retain the file. And she tried to say that the file was left open on a computer for over a year and she never noticed it. So you can kind of believe that kind of remark for what it is. But this person's family is rubbing shoulders with solicitors, Garda, etc. Do you know what I mean? But this is much the same about Waterford Council. Waterford Council edited my mother's file, took all the kind of complaints that my sister had lodged because my mother was getting unbelievable harassment from the neighbour, kind of Ethan Power out in Tranmore, who, as I explained in the last video, put a stereo on my mother's wall and played my father's funeral song back to back. And my brother actually rang the guards about this, and the guard came along and said he's probably full of drink, try and ignore him. But this is the stuff that was going on. I had this person like mocking me mother, like walking up and down outside the window with a walking frame, all this nasty kind of stuff. And when this person had a death in his own family, my mother, despite the harassment that she was going through, she got a mass card and had a mass set and put it in a letterbox. And that's the difference in the character of my mother and this person's kind of family, being honest with you. And this person has a history of kind of threatening women, assaulting minors, you know what I mean? But he's kind of supported by members of Sinn Féin. Not to mention you have him fixing Garda motorcycles outside the house not so long ago, a couple of years ago. But unfortunately, that's the way it is. And they don't want the story kind of coming out. They will do everything and that. I'm not trying to kind of gain an audience or followers or any of this kind of stuff. I want to explain to you what's going on and why I'm going to try and push this in through the High Courts and have it kind of looked into, basically. And that's what I need to do. And I explained to you who's corrupt on the way. And if they deem that I'm after slandering them or defaming them, they can bring me to court. It's as simple as that. They can bring me to court and I will have to prove what I'm saying is whether true or false. And I don't have an issue with that. So when I name the solicitor, she can go get her family's connection and she can bring me to court. She should do that. So there's a lot of stuff that I'm going to speak about over the next few weeks, and kind of they don't want me speaking about it. And as I said, we have water for freewheelers the last kind of couple of months after throwing their weight behind this, because they have an extensive reach throughout Ireland. And if you notice, the people that have been focused on this, they're all part of an organisation. It doesn't take a genius to see that this is clearly based in psychology. Do you know what I mean? There's a campaign, this whole social shunning what's going on down there at the moment. It is what it is. I wouldn't be that social if I'm being honest with you. But it's not fair that my wife have to go through it, and my daughter and her mother and kind of my mother and my family, because that's it. This is the collateral damage, because Dr. Anne Carey wants to push her Baha'i faith, because she wanted to put that into the infrastructure of Ireland. That's it. It's a glorified cult in no uncertain terms. And my ex is still in this. And this is why my ex get all the perks and kind of all the rewards, because she's out there doing the most unspeakable things. And if her actions truly came to light, she'd be jailed, despite her gender being a woman. And we know it's all kind of uphill as a man once you're kind of in a court against a woman. But she would be jailed in no uncertain terms. But I'm going to talk about all of this because I don't want to be deemed like I'm being kind of revengeful or spiteful, and kind of and there's a lot of stuff kind of that my mother went through, which I'm kind of uncomfortable talking about. But I was kind of tiptoeing around this because my family offered no support to my mother. And now I don't speak to my family in any way, shape or form. They don't speak to me, and they will say it's because of all this stuff with me. But it isn't. They didn't support their mother because they didn't want to upset their own comfortable life. And I feel they should have defended their mother more. You know what I mean? To be fair now, my sister did send a lot of emails in on my mother's behalf regarding what was going on out in Tranmore. But all these emails were taken out of my mother's file. Do you know what I mean? In an effort to try and hide what was going on. And this was the same with my file now. There's loads of, 90% of my file was removed in an effort to try and hide what was going on. It's an absolute scandal waiting to break. And it boils down to whether or not I'm really going to sacrifice what I'm saying I'm going to sacrifice in an effort to try and get this into a courtroom. And they're going to do everything in that to try and socially shun me. And unfortunately, you don't get any support in Waterford. And I'm not on about just about me, and people assume that I'm moaning about me. But you didn't even support, like, that stuff going on up in children's group. Like, you didn't even support those people. Do you know what I mean? You have the extended family members of them going around telling people that these people are only looking for money. All these girls who are only looking for money, despite some of them not knowing each other. Do you know what I mean? That they're all looking for money. I'll give you one thing to say about that, because I don't really want to talk about it at the moment. But when you have that many right, allegations, accusations over the course of that many years, right? Why is it not being looked into? Even if they're false, right? Even if they're false allegations, and when you have that many allegations, why is it not looked into? Why is there that many allegations? Do you know what I mean? So what you have there now is you have Waterford Gardaí trying to facilitate the Halligans. This is what's going on. This is going on for years. This was always going on. You have David Cunnan, good friend of John Halligan, and he's kind of like weaseling in the Sinn Féin kind of network, because David Cunnan is in the position he's in because of his support for John Halligan. He used the same network. His political prowess is non-existent, let's be honest about it. Do you know what I mean? What has he done, right, for Waterford that would have enabled him to get the most votes in Waterford? Now, we've heard him talk about, like, how John Halligan was given the most votes in Waterford, and he kind of like drooling at the mouth talking about this. So obviously this is what David Cunnan wanted, and he got it. He got his 30 pieces of silver for supporting John Halligan. And this is why John Halligan's brother, Henry Halligan, out in Ballybeg Church, I sent private emails to a priest who was a family friend, and Henry Halligan printed off the emails and passed them back to David Cunnan. And what was also in the email was a friend request that David Cunnan had taken upon himself to send me wife, because all this sex stuff was going around, so he probably fancied his chances and tried to contact me wife. So I uploaded it, the whole lot. And then unfortunately a year after that, my mother passed away. Now I knew what Henry Halligan was after doing, but I didn't want to kind of like, I didn't want to stir it up for my mother, if I'm being honest with you. And my mother asked me to leave, so I left it. But then my mother passed away, and he interfered with my mother's funeral. As I said, the priest was a family friend. And my family was ringing and ringing, trying to speak to the priest, because my mother wanted the priest to say a few prayers. He wouldn't let the priest or my family speak with each other. He done this until eventually we had to get somebody else, because obviously time was a factor. And this is it. And the Bishop Cullinan, knows quite well what Henry Halligan done. And this person is allowed to go out there and stand in a church like sanctimonious hypocrite if ever there was one. And he's a good buddy. It'd be my mother's brother, Martin Sullivan. I'm not forgetting about speaking about you, being honest with you. And I'm going to like say it like it is. And whether you like it or not, I don't really care. But these would be your local kind of Legion of Mary, your local hypocrites, pray for change and kind of like, but they won't actually get off their arse and go and do it. Do you know what I mean? Too busy looking down their nose at people, to be honest with you. But yeah, I think I've kind of said enough. So over the next kind of like days, weeks, I'll speak about all of this. I'll try and speak about it as best I can. I know this stuff is really kind of confusing, being honest with you, and it's crazy. And the reason I do is I just want to show the corruption that's going on. Unfortunately, I can't deal with any of that kind of sexual stuff, because no one will actually report it, if I'm being honest with you. And as I said before, you could do this anonymously, but they don't want you doing this. They want you to spread it around as far and as wide to socially ostracise us. And I'd imagine somebody probably matter of time before Waterford Council again tried to make myself and my wife homeless. They've had a hand in the last 2 times we've been made homeless. So like, I'd be foolish not to kind of like assume that this is going to be the next kind of approach. And you'll see over the next few videos just how serious this is, and I will show you supporting documentation. But if you were to go back through all my videos, you could probably put it all together, being honest with you, between all the kind of ranting and raving, let's be honest about it. But they want me to be ranting and raving and kind of using bad language and stuff, because it suits them, because I look unhinged. Do you know what I mean? But I'll put the energies into now educate myself, and I'm going to stand my ground with this. There's no way in the world I'm going to run from this, and I will face whatever I need to face. So I'll leave it there. And just before I go, actually, I'll just say, the same people, right, regarding those Waterford freeloaders, there'd be no fear of you going down supporting Waterford says no. Do you know what I mean? Why don't you use your network up and down Ireland? Do you know what I mean? And get people to support the kind of like various kind of Dublin says no, Waterford says no, Cork says no. There'd be no fear of you doing that. Do you know what I mean? They're too far up the backside of Waterford Garda and Waterford Council, and it's as simple as that. So I think I've said enough, and I will definitely be back. I suppose I better leave it there. And if you can like this or share this, I'd appreciate it. If you don't, it's okay. It's to be expected. There's a lot of pressure to get people to stop listening to this, to stop sharing this. But as I said, you can listen to this and you can listen to what they're saying about me. And in a weird twist of fate, they're after putting all their eggs now in one basket, because now everybody knows what they're after doing, because they're more or less, they couldn't get away from the corruption, so now they're trying to condone the corruption, so now everybody knows what they're after doing. So in a weird way, it's a blessing. Do you know what I mean? Because now I just have to put my energies into getting this compiled into a kind of presentable file realistically, and taken in front of a court and have my human rights kind of upheld. And it's as simple as that, really. But they'll do everything in that. Rather than admit fault. As I said, Roisin Doherty, Leo Kennedy, these two people got caught searching my mother's bedroom. Do you know what I mean? They weren't even suspended. They should have been criminally investigated. Do you know what I mean? Joe Daniels cover from, he should have been sacked immediately. But because Joe Daniel rubs shoulders with certain local politicians, he gets his actions covered. So I'll start over the next few days, just let me try and explain the start of this. You can just listen to the start of it and then tune out if you think it's all a bit weird or unbelievable. But I'll explain the whole bahoy of how I was lured into this in 2013 through to 2014, and then I left. I left after they tried to lock us in the Kilkenny College. They rented out for the weekend. I have to just explain this whole situation, because if I start speaking about it now and thrown away flippantly, I will look unhinged. And I want to explain. And when I left that Bahoy in 2014, I refused to go back to the psychology class, because I was being taught by the husband of Pat Carey. This was his first year teaching the psychology, and he was inviting the students up to his wife to basically kind of be conditioned into this kind of weird religion thing. And I know that probably sounds kind of like very kind of unbelievable and kind of crazy, let's be honest about it. But I'll just explain. It's easier to just explain the whole lot from start to finish and put it out there. And you can just make up your own minds after this. And after that, then I'll kind of discuss how I met my ex and kind of how she dragged us into this religion, basically, and then her actions after we left the show. Right up to her trying to kind of ruin funerals and kind of like weddings, destroying me tattoo business, destroying me tattoo ID, that whole kind of hair together program. That's actually my idea. She stole it. She just used kind of hairdressing instead of the tattooing. But then she announced in 2022 that she was going into tattooing. So now the program is identical to my program, except my program is 2 years before her program. But I'll deal with all that and I'll explain it. But as I said, the best approach now for this is to take it through a courtroom. So I suppose I better just knuckle down. But I'll put this out there and I'll give people the opportunity to take me to court. I think I've given the Halligans enough opportunity to take me to court, but I'm sure they're probably waiting for that kind of situation that they're waiting to have swept under the carpet. So we'll let that get played out first, because I have a couple of things I want to say about that situation as well. But yeah, I suppose I'll leave it there anyway. Yeah, thanks, bud. Something I wanted to say that I forgot to kind of say, when I was sentenced to 5 years, I got a review after 20 months or something, and I just wanted to say what that was over. I was jumping over counters and a young girl with a weapon and I was robbing bags of money. This is like over 27 years ago, do you know what I mean? And I haven't been in any kind of trouble in like over 2 decades, do you know what I mean? And it's something I regret doing, but it is something I done, and I deserved every day the prison sentence, let's be honest about it. But I just wanted to point out that's what the sentence was over, and I wasn't for anything kind of weird. Let's just put it that way. Thanks, bye.